So, you already have the divorce papers ready? Are you trying to scare me? You know I'm ready for this at any time. You better calm down and think about what you just said. With that, my husband Jackson got up and went into his room. My name is Kama, and I'm a 28-year-old office worker. I got married a year ago to a man named Jackson. We met on a blind date, and after dating for a year and a half, he proposed to me. Although I thought we got married a bit too soon, I'd always wanted to be married and have children before turning 30, so I accepted his proposal. However, I later realized I should have been more cautious. The first surprise came when Jackson changed his job as soon as we got married. Out of the blue, he said he was changing jobs. Why all of a sudden? I asked him. He replied, because I can't show my full potential there. I was taken aback, especially when he told me he had already submitted his resignation and would leave at the end of the month. He managed to get a new job, but the salary was lower than his previous one. I thought it was fine since I was also working, but then Jackson started asking me to quit my job. I would have been okay with quitting if his income could support us both. However, as I mentioned, he had just changed jobs and his salary was now lower. Jackson insisted that his salary would increase soon, but we had no idea when that would be. If I quit my job now, we wouldn't be able to save any money and would struggle to cover expenses like rent and car payments. In short, we couldn't manage on Jackson's salary alone. I told Jackson, I won't quit my job until your salary goes up. Jackson seemed to agree, but he kept asking me to quit. Every time I gave him the same answer. Now we've been married for a year and Jackson's salary still hasn't increased. He keeps asking, when are you going to quit? I'm tempted to sarcastically say, now, and then tell him I'm just kidding because I can't quit yet. If he wants me to quit so badly, he should earn more money. I feel like he should focus on his work instead of persistently asking me to quit. I wondered why Jackson wants me to quit my job so badly, and I finally figured it out. It seems Jackson wants me to take care of his mother, Helen. Whenever we visited my in-laws' house, Jackson would say to Helen, I just want to make things easier for you, Mom. Helen would graciously thank him, and then Jackson would add, but we're both working, giving me a meaningful look. It was as if he was subtly pushing me to quit my job. Jackson claims his mother needs assistance, but Helen isn't sick or in need of care. She's healthy and quite active. In fact, she earns enough from her part-time job to support her hobbies, social outings, and live a fulfilling life. Realistically, she doesn't require my help at all. If I were in Helen's shoes, I'd feel disheartened to be seen as needing care when I'm perfectly capable. But Jackson continues to insist that I take care of Helen. Oh, if only one of us were home during the day, we could go check on Mom every day, Jackson suddenly voiced his thoughts. It seemed he wanted me to visit my in-laws' house daily, and hearing this was exhausting. I persisted in questioning my husband. Helen is perfectly healthy, so what exactly do you expect me to do? Jackson responded matter-of-factly, there are plenty of things you could do. You could help with housework or run errands. There's a lot to assist her with. But Helen works part-time and spends time with her friends during the day, so she's not home much, right? I countered. Even if Mom isn't home, you could still handle the housework, couldn't you? Jackson's words left me baffled. What is he saying? Am I supposed to be her maid? I thought to myself. Jackson seems to be very concerned about appearances, especially in front of his parents. If he's so determined to care for them, he should handle the household chores himself. I wasn't interested in indulging Jackson's pride, so I didn't quit my job and avoided visiting my in-laws on my days off. However, I did make sure to visit them during holidays like New Year's. Thinking back, Jackson often assigned me tasks whenever we visited my in-laws together. He'd ask me to clean up, assist his mom, check if anything was needed from the store, and so on. But I never acted on these requests. When he asked me to go to the store, I'd respond with, "Don't you know more about this area than I do?" He'd then say, "It wouldn't make sense if I did it." I didn't really understand his reasoning. It seemed like he just wanted to control me and feel good about taking care of his parents, didn't it? Over time, that's how I started to view Jackson. Could it be that he's more concerned with appearances than genuinely caring for me? When I boldly asked him, why don't you pitch in or quit your job to care for your own mother? He appeared extremely uncomfortable and had a disgusted expression on his face. That's not something I'm supposed to do. I'm giving you these instructions so that my mom will think that you are a considerate, useful wife. I hope you realize how kind I am to you, he said. In other words, he wants to dump all the difficult tasks on his wife and show off how good he is as if it's something remarkable. Well, I'm not his servant or slave, and I don't deserve to be treated disrespectfully in front of my in-laws. If Jackson continues making unreasonable demands, I won't stay silent. I'll stand up for myself. But despite talking to him, Jackson hasn't changed. He still asks, "Are you going to quit your job?" And whenever we visit my in-laws, he orders me around just like before. I had enough and decided it was time to discuss it with him seriously. "I think we need to talk about our future," I said. "What are you even trying to say?" Jackson replied, sounding annoyed. "I'm honestly fed up. I'm tired of you constantly asking me when I'll quit my job and exhausted from you pressuring me to take care of Helen," I explained. "Why are you fed up with that? You're my wife and it's your duty to care for your husband's parents," Jackson said. "Don't you think that's a huge responsibility for me? Shouldn't you, as their biological child, be responsible for helping with the housework and taking care of your own parents in the first place?" I asked. "No way, it's the wife's duty to do it. Are you the kind of person who doesn't care about family?" "I'm really disappointed to hear you say that," Jackson responded. "Then let me ask you this, how have you been taking care of my parents?" "If I asked you to care for my parents, would you do it then?" I questioned. Jackson stared at me blankly. "What are you saying? Why should a husband take care of his wife's parents? So does that mean you won't take care of my parents now or ever?" I pressed. "The husband's parents and wife's parents are completely different," Jackson replied. "What difference does that make, anyway? I don't get it," I said, feeling frustrated. "I didn't realize you were so clueless. It's like talking to my old boss," I continued. "What are you saying?" Jackson asked, confused. "I'm saying the husband's parents should come first. You should take care of your wife's parents," I clarified. "What?" I exclaimed. "So you only prioritize your own blood-related family? I'm so disappointed in you. I won't be visiting your parents anymore." "Huh, why would you do that? Enough is enough. I'm the one who wants you to stop this nonsense," I retorted. "No way, how dare you talk back like that? My mom is right," Jackson shot back. "Huh, Mom was talking about you. She said you're a badly behaved wife. That's why she gave me this." With that, Jackson pulled out a piece of paper from his bag. It was divorce papers. "What? You already had divorce papers ready?" I was shocked, but Jackson seemed strangely proud. "See? I scared you, didn't I? I'm prepared for this anytime, so think about what you just said," Jackson declared smugly before leaving for his room. Unbelievable. Why is Jackson so selfish? That look of triumph on his face. It's clear the divorce papers are a threat to make me obey him. The fact that Helen was involved made me even more suspicious. Jackson is acting like a puppet for his mom, trying to control me while following her orders. It's ridiculous. I won't let Jackson have his way. How can he not see our marriage is in trouble when he acts like this? His lack of understanding just annoys me more. Jackson had already completed the divorce papers and handed them to me with witnesses, including Helen and his friends. This meant I could sign and file them whenever I chose. The next day, after Jackson went to work, I filled out the divorce papers and submitted them to the city office. As a precaution, I also filed a notice of non-acceptance of the marriage certificate. I called my parents and explained the situation, knowing Jackson might threaten to file the marriage certificate on his own if he found out. My parents were shocked that I had already prepared the divorce papers but fully supported my decision. Outraged by Jackson's behavior, they offered to help me move my belongings immediately. Taking a leave from work, I had my parents come over and relocate all my things to their house while Jackson was away. I decided to stay with my parents for a while. It was the first time in a long time that I felt truly comfortable and at ease in their home. Reflecting back, Jackson never did his share of housework. I was the one cooking dinner after long work days and handling all the cleaning and laundry on my days off. On top of that, he expected me to care for his parents, which was impossible. That night, Jackson called me, probably just back from work. "Hello? Hey, where are you right now?" "I'm at my parents' house." "Oh, why would you go back there without my permission? And where's all your stuff? Don't tell me you're staying the night." I almost laughed. How could he think I was staying when I had taken most of my belongings with me? It showed his selfishness to even suggest that I move out of the house. "I'm not coming back," I said firmly. "What are you talking about? Come back here and make me some food." "Make it yourself," I replied, ending the call. I couldn't discuss divorce with him if he continued to behave this way. I decided to wait for him to come to my parents' house and blocked his number. A week later, Jackson showed up at my parents' house, accompanied by his parents. They all wore serious expressions. I led them into the living room, and we faced each other, 3 against 3. "How could you do this? How could you leave without my permission?" Jackson demanded. "Well, you were treating me like a housekeeper. All I asked you to do was take care of your family," I countered. "That's not true. What kind of wife are you if you don't take care of Jackson?" Helen shot me a fierce glare. My father began to tremble with anger, but I interjected. "Jackson told me to quit my job and care for Helen, saying it was my duty as his wife. Yet, when it comes to my family, he expects me to handle everything alone. Ultimately, Jackson wants obedience and uses me to care for his parents while taking credit for it. That's why he prioritizes his parents over mine. Have you heard Jackson say these things? Helen continued to glare, but Carter looked confused, indicating he hadn't heard this before. Let's clear the air, Jackson said suddenly, bringing up the divorce papers and claiming it was Helen's idea. Why would you suggest that? Carter asked, clearly surprised. Oh no, it's because Camilla has an attitude problem, Helen stammered. And did you really say that Camilla's parents aren't a priority? I pressed. Well, it's only natural that your own parents come first, Helen retorted defensively. Don't be absurd. I came here to support you after hearing about the unfair treatment Camilla endured, but now it seems you're the one at fault. Don't hide behind your parents' authority to get your way, Carter said, making Jackson visibly shrink in his seat. Carter then apologized to me and my parents. I'm truly sorry for the trouble caused by my foolish son. I will have a serious talk with him. Carter, you're not to blame at all, so please don't apologize, I replied. Thank you for your kind words, but there's something else I need to say. Turning to Jackson, who was now nervous, I said, the divorce papers you gave me, I've already filed them. We're no longer married. Jackson and Helen both turned pale. Why did you file them without my permission? Jackson demanded, shocked. You told me I could file them whenever I wanted. Besides, you had already filled out your part and had Helen sign as a witness, I calmly explained. Oh, that was, Jackson stammered, clearly at a loss for words. Carter, furious, intervened. Jackson, you used divorce as a threat. He slapped Jackson across the face. Helen was visibly shaken by the confrontation. I apologize deeply that you had to witness this. You're right to divorce this fool. On behalf of Jackson, I'm truly sorry for ruining your marriage, Carter said, grasping Jackson by the collar and demanding apologies from both Jackson and Helen before escorting them out of the house. Later, I thanked Carter for his intervention. He ensured that all of Jackson's assets and property were transferred to me without any hassle. Despite my higher income and managing our household, it was a relief to secure everything from our marriage. I later learned that Carter had divorced Helen, clearly disgusted with her actions. The other day, I ran into a colleague from Jackson's old workplace who shared some surprising news. Jackson wasn't performing well at his job and often received harsh criticism from his boss. In defiance, Jackson resigned and changed jobs. This only added to my frustration with him. Instead of taking responsibility for his shortcomings, he blamed others, which likely contributed to his lower pay at the new job. I'm relieved to have left him. I've rented a cozy apartment and enjoy living independently. Work is going smoothly, and I even received a recent raise. Right now, I'm not interested in relationships and prefer focusing on my career. Jackson always cared more about appearances than actual abilities. He maintained a facade at home but failed to improve professionally. Sadly, many husbands use divorce threats as leverage, thinking they're powerful, but it's a big mistake. I hope they realize their folly and find happiness alone. Meanwhile, I'm grateful to have moved on from Jackson and look forward to meeting someone special in the future.